Now, we lost Jack Jones and Bob Doyle at the beginning of the year, and this weekend is a tribute to them and to the strong links they both had with this island. As young adults, they had endured the Great Depression. The poverty, misery, and injustice of their daily lives was hard to bear. However, I believe it was this enforced idleness that helped to educate them about the wider world. They had time on their hands to read in the libraries, to go to political meetings, to debate, to find for themselves the promise of a better world, and to learn about what was happening in Spain. Jack, of course, devoted his life to getting better conditions for all working men and women through the Transport and General Workers' Union, and later for the Pensioners' Association. Bob, too, was very active in his own Print Workers' Union and a champion of radical causes. They've both written accounts of their lives and their struggles, and, let's not forget, their many achievements. The genesis of the International Brigade Memorial Trust was in the year 2000, when it was realized that there were fewer and fewer brigade veterans, but their families and friends were unwilling to allow their memory and spirit to fade. From the beginning, Jack, Bob, and Jackie Edwards have been tremendous supporters of the Trust. They've been an inspiration to all of us and to the many people they have reached with their willingness to be interviewed, filmed, photographed, autographed. They've been incredibly patient, answering the same questions over and over again. Why did you go? How old were you? How did you get there? And I remember once passing on a question from the Daily Mirror to Jackie here, and it was saying, did you go because the pay was so good? And yes, he nearly dropped the phone with laughter. And at the time, some of the right-wing press said that the brigaders were only going not to fight, but just to pick oranges. But they knew why they went, and because of their example, we all know that the fight for equality must continue. It's in our hands now. They have shown us the way. It's up to us to fight against fascism, against injustice and prejudice, against poverty, against exploitation, wherever in the world we find them. Thank you, Jack Jones, Bob Doyle, and Jackie Edwards, and all the brigaders for showing us the way. Thank you.
And the Balliad Haraba, they blew ya all to hell. When you crossed the Ebro River, your blood the vines did stain. Ireland lost her fighting man in the civil war in Spain. McCrotty, Derry City, Danny Boyle from Belfast town, Denny Cody from South Dublin, he fell on Spanish ground. Kid Conway Tipperary, Charlie Donnelly from Tyrone, and Frank Ryan taken prisoner, he never will come home. And the fascist bullets won't permit our Johnny to return. His heavy loss, the Belfast girls, they'll never cease to mourn. He fought for the Conley column and the brave 15th Brigade, and he died for Spanish workers and the Civil War in Spain. Thank you.
So we'd arranged for Bob Doyle to come across, and there was no chance that we were going to get this thing in place by then. So we got a plaque put in the John Hewitt Bar, which you can all go down and have a look at. And Bob made a speech that day, which surprised us all, because everybody was there to hear Bob Doyle talk about the Spanish Civil War. But I've got an extract of a speech of the day, and I think it's very important that you hear these words if you missed it that first day around. This is the words of Bob Doyle. I'm not here to indulge in emotional memories, though I have many memories of comrades and events that affect me deeply. I am not here to make you sad with tragic recollections of a heroically fought war. I'm here to make your blood boil with anger. The powers that supported Franco in Spain are still active, and today their reach is global. The same US corporations that supplied the fascists with oil in Spain are today pilfering the oil in Iraq. When I am told that Spain was the last noble cause, I know I'm speaking to someone who doesn't want to see the obvious truth. In 1936, there were many apologists for racism and oppression who did not want to see fascism for what it was. Today, the fight against those who put profit before people is just as intense, and the stakes are higher than ever. We must make common cause with those in the third world who are now in the front line, as Spain once was. Those who stand up to corporate global capitalism, like Chavez in Venezuela and Castro in Cuba, must be defended. Those whose greed would destroy our environment with catastrophic consequences for humanity must be defeated. It is indeed a noble struggle. It will not be over until the liberation of the entire human race is achieved. To commemorate the International Brigadistas and what they stood for is a very important and honourable thing to do. But as Bob pointed out, that beast that they fought is still with us today, and that beast is international capitalism. It no longer needs armies or dictators. Well, at this stage it no longer needs armies and dictators, but they wear suits and they rob us left, right and centre, and our governments today unfortunately back them up. We've just seen what happened with the bailout of the banks and the continued greed of bankers that we're experiencing here today. We must remember these people for what they fought for. At the moment, the voices of humanity and love, the left, are divided. And so that's why big business no longer needs fascist armies to stand against us. But we must, if we're going to do honour to these people, we must come together. We must challenge racism, we must challenge fascism, and we must challenge unrestrained global capitalism. People should take to the streets whenever there's a smell of fascism raising its face again. We have Matthew Collins from Searchlight with us today, and he was telling me that last week Nick Griffin, leader of the BNP, was in Spain, and he wasn't there to commemorate the International Brigades, naturally enough. He was there to commemorate the founder of the Spanish Phalanges Party. This is what we're dealing with. This is the leader of a party that now has MEPs, it now has councillors. It is a rising force, and as it moves forward, the forces of the left, the social democratic parties like the British Labour Party, are singing their tunes. We have a massive weight on our shoulders here. We've got to live up to these people, and we've got to challenge racism. When we hear it in the streets, when we hear colleagues, when we hear people making any sort of racist comment, we must jump on them immediately and point out that they're wrong. And we must, as I said before, we must back up the left, we must back up trade unions, and we must fight and make sure that humanity prevails here, that capitalism is restrained, and a new world order, socialism, is achieved. Thank you very much.
Arise, ye starvelings, from your slumbers. Arise, ye prisoners of want. For reason in revolt now thunders, and at last ends the age of cant. Now away with all your superstitions, serve our masses, arise, arise. We'll change forthwith the old conditions, and spurn the dust to win the prize. Then comrades, come rally, and the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. Then comrades, come rally, and the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race.